I made literally the best carrot cake, all from scratch. It's so good. My new brand is eating and drinking and chatting about life. Hello everyone, I'm Natasha and I am back again with a new chat. I have partnered with the new show on Stage 13 called I Love Becca and Lucy. And this show is all about friendship and love and millennials, basically. It's about two grown women. They're 20 years old and they live together. No one is around them on the block. And each episode is like 5 to 10 minutes long. They're super short, like super quick, kind of funny. They kind of capture what friendship is like in your 20s. It evoked so many emotions from me, and especially like after I've been reading everyone's outpour of their stories that have filled up my DMs and my email. I've had so many of you guys just tell me such amazing advice and also have made me feel better because we've gone through the same thing. I thought what better way to talk about this new show than to tie it in with my own life and how I've dealt with dating and relationships in my life. And not just like myself dating, because truly I've literally had one relationship and I've been on, that's it. I know the other side. I've never really had a person who is like my significant other be that person for me. Like I've always had my best friends. Those are my people. It's quite an interesting dynamic when one of your best friends gets into a relationship, especially when that best friend has been single just as long as you have. A couple of my friends are serial daters, so I'm used to that. But like when you have your best friends who have been single for the longest time and then finally like they find someone, it's just this weird transition of being like, okay, I have to step back. So I encourage you all to go watch I Love Becca and Lucy. I'll have the whole thing linked down below. Like it's on YouTube, so you can literally watch the whole thing in one sitting. I just did. I had a grand old time. It's Saturday night. I'm in my pajamas and no makeup. I feel comfy and cozy. I hope you guys do too. One of my favorite actresses is actually in the show. It's Jessica Parker Kennedy. She's actually in The Flash right now, but I weirdly met her in Hollywood one night after the Mortal Instruments premiere. It was so weird because I had fan casted her as one of the characters in the Mortal Instruments, which I'm just going brain dead of who I cast her. But like I met her after the premiere and we were having dinner and then like she walked right past. I'm like, Jessica! And she followed me on Twitter that night. She still does. She still follows me on Twitter. I related to her character the most. She's Becca because the other character is actually in a relationship. We see these two best friends who are super introverted and this neighbor moves in next door and continues to talk to them and they're both like evading him at all costs. I'm not that person. I am an extroverted introvert. So I don't mind talking to people. I have no problem with social interaction. Like I usually try to engage someone in conversation if they seem friendly. I don't always engage everyone in conversation like my friend Sasha. There were so many things I related to with Becca. There's one thing that really evoked a memory. My best friend growing up married her high school boyfriend. My friendship always had the boyfriend. Like since sophomore year of high school, I've known my best friend Abby since 7th grade. We were friends, but I knew her. We went to the same school for like kindergarten. We didn't become friends because I pity invited her to my 6th grade birthday party. She's the one who actually made me read Twilight. She was so into it and she's like, you have to read it. And I remember she showed me the trailer and I'm like, that's the guy from Harry Potter. So she's seen it all, guys. When I was in high school, I was kind of not the best person at sharing other people. I always wanted a best friend who was just always gonna be there for me. It took me a while to learn that the best people in your life are the people who literally will give up anything and they'll be there for you. They don't always have to be talking to you constantly because I hate that now. Lucy in the show, she gets engaged in the 2nd episode. Guy he's like cringeworthy. He's absolutely horrible. That was not the case with Patrick, my best friend's now husband. I just didn't like the fact that he was taking my best friend away from me. It wasn't until after we all graduated high school that I finally figured out that Patrick was so cool and we had so much in common. We have spent hours talking about Lord of the Rings. I had you guys ask me a couple questions about friendships and dating that I want to answer. You guys all know that I have a couple best friends here on YouTube, and all of those best friends live pretty far away from me, except for Christine. She lives in LA, but we both live like an hour away. So it's not like we can just be like, hey, let's go see a movie tonight. Like, it has to be planned. And that's how almost all my friendships have been since coming out of high school. Like, I've had long distance best friends for a very long time now, and I'm very used to it. But it is nice having people close to you, so I've been working on that. I can say that all of my best friends don't live near me at all. One of the questions was, how do you keep your long distance friendships? I can't even remember to text my friends who live in the same city. This is all about priority. A friendship is a two-way street. You both have to work on it, but there are going to be some people who don't work on it as much as you do. It sucks when you love someone and they don't love you enough back, or they don't really make it known that they don't love you enough. So I think every friendship is very different. I'm not that person who needs to talk to people all the time, but I like to know what's going on in my friends' lives, so I will do like catch-up session when it comes to like Sasha and I. Sasha's one of my very bestest friends. I love her to death. Like, about every 2 weeks we spend 1 to 4 hours on FaceTime just talking and just being with each other. I only get to see Sasha like 3 times a year. I mean, that's how I really keep long distance friendships alive. But like in other cases, some of my friends, I don't really talk to them in between like seeing them. I'll catch up with Jessie once in a while, but we're not the type of people who will text each other all the time. If it's in like the case of my LA friends who I don't really see all that often, maybe like once a month or twice a month, we're texting. Like, I text Christine, I text Heather, I text Abby. They all live up in LA. It sucks. That's how life goes, especially as adults. And it was such a hard transition. I remember coming out of high school and then not going to college. I didn't make those college friends. Like, I technically say that my college friends are my YouTube friends. I didn't have a college experience. I had a YouTube experience. I don't know what it's like to live with your friends. Like, I really want to do that. Like, I'm hoping to do that this next year coming up, because I'm planning on moving out. And I have 2 friends here in Orange County that I grew up with, that we're hopefully planning to move out together. Keeping your long distance friendships alive is really just about prioritizing people in your life. I've learned there's only so many people I can have as friends, and it's hard to keep everyone who you love happy with how much attention that you are giving them, because there's really only so much attention you can give. Long distance friendships need a lot of work and a lot of love. I fortunately have opportunities to travel and see those friends. We keep it alive. I could probably do a long distance like romantic relationship because I'm so used to it, but I don't really want to. One of the questions I got was specifically about your boyfriend or significant other. What if my boyfriend doesn't like books? My ex did not like books. Honestly, like, that's fine. You have to find other things that you both like together. I would never ever date someone if they didn't like movies or TV shows, because that's a huge part. I love going to the movies. I love binging TV shows. I was just binging TV shows today on my day off. So that's huge for me. But if books are huge for you, it's a single person activity. So it's fine if your significant other doesn't like books. You'll have friends who like books. So I got a couple questions about having non-Christians as your friend. This is not that heavy a topic, but it's sad that like people grow up this way thinking, or they don't have non-Christian friends and they're too scared to even try to have non-Christian friends, because it is quite regularly taught that we should have a diverse friend group. If you are talking to one group of people for the entirety of your life, you're never gonna grow. As long as you find friends who respect you and your values, there is absolutely nothing wrong with it. And it's just gonna make you a stronger person. Everyone goes through different journeys in their lives, and it's up to us to educate ourselves about that. Advice for being single while everyone else around you is dating. Oh, I know this. Until this year, I was always that friend. Always that friend who never had someone. Now, after like being in a relationship, I get it. I have to give people grace. But it's hard. Like, it's hard being like the fifth wheel. Fortunately, I was stuck with a life partner already, my twin brother. We have the same friends, and all of our friends are dating or married, and Alex and I are just like two single people. It's fine. We'll just hang out with each other. So that works out great for me. So I definitely advise you, if you weren't friends with your siblings when you were younger, be friends with them when you're adults, because your family is always gonna be there. And it is so important to have good relationships with those people, whether it's your grandparents or your aunts or your cousins. I love my cousins. My cousins are my best friends. Bring another single friend or bring a family member if you have to go on outings like that. When I'm spending time with my friend, I don't want you texting anyone else. You spend so much time with your significant other. You pay attention to me, okay? Especially now as an adult, I can say that because I don't have a lot of time anymore, okay? It's very precious. I was very aware of that when I was dating my ex. I'm like, when I'm with my friends, I'm with my friends. What does it mean when a friend leaves you on read? So many times, but people say they're busy, but they're on Instagram most of the time. You love a friend way more than they love you, and they just don't care to answer, or they forgot. But in most circumstances, they read it and they're just like, I'm not gonna answer. I've done this so many times too. I'll take blame for this as well. I literally had a spat with my friend last month because I wasn't responding to her, and it was my fault because there's a freaking fly. I didn't prioritize her in my life. That's what happens. You just don't prioritize people in your life, and you need to tell them. Even if you don't like confrontation, friendships are work. It has to be expected that both people have to put work into a friendship. But if someone is making you feel awful about yourself, or not loved, or cared about, or concerned about, then they might not be worth your time. You could be using your time for another person who might need your time more. So, I'm sorry you've been left on read, girl. Confront that friend and tell her how that is making you feel, because that's the only way to really get over a problem. But I understand people not wanting to be confrontational. I'm quite a confrontational person. I like to get my feelings out of the way. All my friends know this. If you ever leave me on read, I will let you know that I'm not happy about it. How do you feel when someone is in a new relationship and doesn't talk to friends anymore? I give them a grace period. I know people, when they're in new relationships, that they just must be so infatuated with that person, and I totally get it. Honestly, having one person in your life who just takes over your whole life and you don't talk to other people or your family or friends anymore is very unhealthy. That is the bottom line. It is unhealthy to have someone that you're just obsessed with because they could do something or you could do something. That person is easily forgiven for whatever thing that they did to you because you're so infatuated with them. That, I think, is a very unhealthy relationship, and I've seen it happen. I could say that was my parents. My parents alienated all their friends. Like, I think that's why I'm so opposite. Like, I just want my friends to be involved into everything. I don't want to be in a relationship where that takes over my entire life. Like, hell no. I don't want one person, one man controlling my life. I give a grace period. Again, I'm very confrontational, so I will let them know. In a very concerned, nice, friendly way. Toxic friendships. Have I ever had to end a toxic friendship? Yes, I have. I've had to end 2 of them. It's a lot like breaking up. You have to realize that you're in a toxic relationship and then start talking to other people to figure out how you're gonna get out of it, or even, to legitimize your concerns. Honestly, I ghosted both of those people. I just stopped responding. It wasn't worth the pain and the hurt. It's not like a breakup. You can't just be like, I don't want to be your friend anymore, because that doesn't really seem final. Like, it just seems kind of like a snotty thing to say. Most people get it, like, if you just stop talking to them. You have to think about yourself in this. Like, all friendships are supposed to lift you up and to make you stronger as a human. But a lot of different friendships, you are that person helping somebody else. So you can't just always take. You have to give. When you're going through a tough time, how do you keep relationships normal? Love you, Tasha. I've been through lots of tough times. Like, when my dad was dying, he was in and out of the hospital for like 4 years. When my home was being foreclosed on. When my cousin passed away this last summer. So there's a lot of different tough times that I've gone through. That's when you find out who your true friends are. is those people who will show up. If those people don't show up for you, or they're not there for you, they're really not your true friends, and they are very aware of that situation that's going on. If they don't show up or say something to you, then they're really not your true friends. Sometimes, like, you'll have friends who just, they aren't the most wordy or sympathetic people in your life. You have to give them grace, but you also need to expect more from people too. You can't always just be like, okay, it's fine. I mean, that's the way I should be treated. Sometimes you do have to speak up for yourself. All right, my last question is how to be happy if you're single. I hate the fact in our society, especially, you know, in America, Christian lives, that happiness can only be found in a relationship. Like, if you're married and you have a job and you have children, then you're automatically so happy, and it's just not the case. Now I can go with a very, very Christian answer right here, or I can give you some practical tips, but I love being single. Being single is probably one of the most selfish things that you could do, because you don't have children. You don't have anyone who is holding you accountable. I don't think happiness is in being single or being in a relationship. I think it's being just happy with you. You love yourself, love the person that you are, and you find your identity in that. I find my identity in my relationship with Christ. That is where my peace is. It is easier, though, to have someone to be there for you, because we're not meant as humans to go through life alone. So whether that is a family member, a best friend, your significant other, you're always going to have somebody. How to be happy single? How to be happy in a relationship? No. You really got to be happy with yourself first. That can go into being happy with your body. I get so many people who comment on my Instagram. They're just like, I wish I had your confidence. And it really came from years of just being so unhappy. Like, just being so unhappy with the way I looked and the way that I thought that I should look, and just embracing it and loving myself, because that's where true happiness is gonna lie. Alright, well, thank you all so much for watching. I didn't touch my cake. I hope you really enjoyed these, like, fun chats, and I was really encouraged by my last video to hear how all of you loved it, so I'm definitely gonna make this a normal thing to do. And thank you so much to Stage 13 for sponsoring this video. Go check out that TV show down below if you guys have, like, you know, an hour to kill and you want to watch some good, well-acted, silly, funny show. I Love Becca and Lucy is linked down below for your viewing pleasure. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm Natasha. I'll see you all in the future. Keep calm and fangirl on. Bye!